Hi, everybody. You know, I love a good cup of coffee. I have it in the morning time. Sometimes I have it in the evening time. A good cup of coffee, hard to beat that. And you know, one of the best coffees I know is this coffee right here. I get it from Hondo. This is good coffee. And I started thinking about the process of this good coffee and how it starts and what happens. And you know, coffee goes through a process. It's planted, then it stays out in the elements, it's watered, then it's harvested, and you think, that's it, okay, now a good cup of coffee. No, not true. Then the next thing that happens is you have to put some heat to it. After it's cleaned up, you have to put some heat. You have to roast the coffee. After that, you think, okay, maybe that's it. No, you end up with a bean like this, a coffee bean like this, but this coffee bean in itself will not get you to this cup of coffee. After that process, then you have to grind the coffee. So these beans are placed into a grinding system of some sort, and the coffee is ground up. You think maybe now it's ready and that you could drink it and get a cup of coffee like that? No, not yet. Now it has to go into hot water. It goes into a machine with water, and there's pressure, and then you get this delicious cup of coffee. And you know what? I started thinking how that's kind of like our lives. It's like, hola Darwin, I see you. And yes, this is your kind of coffee. And you bought this bag of coffee, by the way. This was a bag I think we got from you. But anyway, it's kind of like our lives. In our lives, we have times that we think, what's going on? We're going through this process and we can't understand it. There's heat and it's grinding and we want it to be over because we want to reach success. But there's a process that we have to go through. Not too many people start off and go straight into success. They have to go through the process. And it's not always easy. But you know what? With God, all things are possible. And I found out that when I get to the other side of the success, or of the whatever part of the process I'm in, whether it's the grinding, or whether it's the heat, or whether it's the time that I feel like I'm buried and nothing is going on around me, when actually there's growth going on around me. When all of those things, different things happen, and I'm like, God, when is this going to happen? When am I going to reach success, or when will I be past this season? I find out that in the midst of the process, that God is always there. I find out that in the midst of the process, I'm actually growing, and He's actually doing something. He's preparing me for the next step, the next thing that it is I have to do, the next thing that's going to come my way. It's a time of strengthening, a time of growing, a time of growth. You can't skip around in the process. You know, you can't go from this to this without the part in the middle. It's all a part of the process. It's not always difficult. But I just want to encourage you tonight to trust God. No matter what's going on in the midst of your process, no matter where you are in your process, I want to encourage you to trust God. To know that God is God alone. To know that God is in charge. To know that God is in control. To know that God is working things out. He really is, but we have to trust Him in the midst of a process. And if we will allow God to be God, then eventually we'll be satisfied with what we have. We'll be satisfied with where we are. And we'll see how God, during that time, He grew us up. This is Sabrina with your Night Nugget, about to enjoy the rest of my coffee. Night night.